of the House Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee. I'm going to ask, call upon Representative Fraser to open us with a word of prayer.
As a minute, let me catch my breath. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for health and blessings as we deal with this pandemic and still trying to do the work for the people of Georgia. We ask that you continue to bless our chairman and all our committee members and keep us safe and keep all our Georgians safe and healthy. We ask these blessings in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to call upon and recognize, I'm going to say Representative Martin. We got a different chairman in here. I think I just referred to chairman. It gets too confusing. I refer to him as Representative Martin. Can you hear me? Can you go ahead and give your report?
I can. Can you hear me okay, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. Yes, sir. We'd like to report. Thank you for allowing me to work with a group of people on your subcommittee on the right-of-way over the summer. As you have asked us, we are going to continue to work during session on that important issue for you. But as one of the takeaways from that, we would like to report to you and recommend that the House go ahead with what will amount to an agree. It's in the available for action on the House floor. It is the Senate substitute to House Bill 328 as amended by the Senate with AM 360876. This is a compromise toward that right-of-way issue for fiber and broadband companies that traverse municipal bounds and along our state rights of way. This is particularly addressing, this agreement particularly addresses those rights of way in municipalities. And there is an agreement. You probably have people in the room there from GMA and from the representative industry companies that have come to that agreement. So while the bill is not in your committee anymore, as you well know, it's on the House floor. It did pass out of the chair's committee, and we talked about it in our subcommittee, and we would recommend for discussion today and then action as you and the speaker and the author of the bill see fit for the agree on House Bill 328 LC 364712S as amended by the Senate and Senate Amendment 3 AM 360876. And we would report that to you for discussion today, Mr. Chairman, and we'll continue to work on the larger issue as relates to franchise fees and right-of-ways, along with, potential other communication service fees in order to make a fair recommendation to you later in session.
All right, I want to make sure I understand. So you're speaking to the House bill that we passed last year that passed out of the House. It went to the Senate. The Senate amended it, came back over. It's now in the House, ready for an agree, disagree. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. And that is in the House. I just what I mean to report to you is in our discussions, we knew that was part of why you created the subcommittee. And in this particular, instance, the parties involved have come to a compromise, and it is represented in the House. The bill as passed the House as amended by the Senate, and it's back for an agree, disagree. This is not the total answer to the right of way, but it's something that time says that we need to address that because the DOT has changed their rules, and as such, they've left our cities. When July 1st this year comes around, they will be without a rule supporting their ability for collections in this particular area. So this bill, as amended by the Senate, represents a compromise agreed to by the cities and by the companies involved, and is the best and fastest way to alleviate the issue that was brought about when the DOT rules neglected to include the cities, perhaps on purpose, allowing that to accrue to the legislature to do that. And as I said, we had members that spoke to this yesterday, and they are in favor of the compromise. I see some of them in a distance as I zoom in here. I believe representatives from industry and GMA that can speak to the compromise. One thing I should say is we neglected by an administrative error to include the amendment in our discussion yesterday, but it was always the intent to recommend the language that was available for an agree, which includes the amendment from the Senate. So you're absolutely correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Just want to make sure, I think we do have somebody want to speak on it. Is that what it is? Chairman Carson, go ahead.
If I could, Chairman Parsons, I just had a question for Chairman Martin. I'm not trying to set too much up, but will there be a formal report from the right-of-way committee, or is it really just limited to legislative documents and action and so forth? I'm just asking.
As in the Chair Parsons, you can correct if I'm wrong. We still have ongoing work there. Representative Carson in the right-of-way committee itself. That was not a study committee set forth by legislation. That was something that Chairman Parsons did as a subcommittee that is still standing at his call, and we are continuing to work. We did not get to finish our work due to the Delta variant and the Omicron variant that prohibited us from getting together. But we do not want to slow down what has come as of last session out to be a good compromise. So the gentleman's right. We have work ongoing, but we need to do this forward as an agree disagree, and wanted to give the parties the opportunity to report to Chairman Parsons and this committee that the compromise was agreed to over the summer.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate the work you've done on it and other members of the committee. So just to kind of clarify, the bill passed out last year. Representative Montahan's bill that did pass here went to the House, passed the House, passed the Senate with an amendment over there, came back to the House at the end of the session last year, and now is in the House ready for a agree disagree. That's Representative Montahan's bill. And of course, it's his bill, and the way the rules are set up, it's his decision to ask to be able to make a motion on that to agree, disagree, which I as far as I know, he'll make a motion to agree. So we really don't have anything to do. We've done our work on that. It's now up to Representative Montahan to go ahead and make that motion one day when we're doing agree, disagrees. And I think that Chairman Martin is saying that on the issue of the DOT right of way, which we still have some issues with or questions about, that may very well be something that he comes back with at a later time. Are you still there? I mean, is that pretty much it?
Yes, sir. And that should be clear. The amendment, I believe Mr. Doss was going to have pointed out, and again, this is not for action in your committee one way or the other. It would have to be on the House floor. But the amendment did not significantly change the bill. It left the 5 cent, for the right of way, and then it put an addition in certain circumstances for that to be 19 cents per linear foot. So I'm hoping that some at least a couple parties, as they did yesterday in subcommittee, will speak to their agreement on that compromise. And again, as Chairman Parsons said, this is the first step. The DOT has by rules set fees, new fees and rules, and we'll have that discussion this year during session about what the legislative action would be into adopting those fees. It's more than likely going to be our recommendation from that those be set in statute. But we didn't want to slow down this compromise while that issue was debated. We have this ready to go with a simple agree, and we can move forward.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think you had another meeting to go to.
Yeah.
Okay. We appreciate that. You can stay if you want to.
Yes, sir. I have to be there at 3:30, so I'll listen intently to the speakers. Again, I hope to hear them as you know, for you, Mr. Chairman, as they told us yesterday that they were in agreement on this.
Okay. What, is there any comment from the parties? If you don't mind speaking to the mic, since we're on the telecast or the webcast, what do they call it?
You mind if we go to either one?
I don't, he can tell
Okay.
you.
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Parsons and members of the committee. I'm Charlotte Davis with the Georgia Municipal Association, and Chairman Chuck Martin did a great job at kind of explaining where the legislation is now and how we came to it. But just a little bit of background and perhaps some clarification for those that didn't serve on the special subcommittee for right-of-way governance. So y'all will recall that Representative Momtahan's House Bill 328 passed through this committee and through the full House last session. And the cities had concerns not only with the reduction of the rate for the linear mile fee, but largely because we are in statute tied to the GDOT rulemaking process. And we knew that GDOT was going to be reviewing their rule over the summer, and we wanted to see what that rulemaking process concluded before we were comfortable putting any new or additional language in statute. The rulemaking process played out throughout the summer and fall, and the rule that they've adopted, that's the current GDOT board rule, does not have any rate structure for municipalities, meaning that we would be in a position where we wouldn't be able to charge a fiber company for use of the right of way at all, which certainly you could assume our cities will have concerns about, which turns now to our focus on House Bill 328, which was amended through the Senate, setting up a two-tiered structure that recognizes that fiber should be as cheap as possible to incentivize investment in the rural areas and should be more expensive if you're going into an already served metro area. So that's largely sort of the background conversation and compromise that we've had in discussions throughout the summer and fall with the industry and with GDOT. And again, just want to thank Representative Martin for chairing that subcommittee, helping us as we worked through the legislation and the rulemaking process, and then ultimately getting to this agreement on 328. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments, but I'd like to turn it over to the industry for additional comments, if that's all right.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kimberly Adams with Crown Castle, and I'll keep it very brief because Charlotte, I think, covered it very well. And we do appreciate the compromise and all the work over the years that have gone into this bill. And certainly, I think I speak on behalf of industry, including Verizon, Wireless, and AT&T, that we also support HB 328 as amended. So thank you.
All right. Very good. I think that's pretty clear. We know where we stand. It's actually Representative Momtahan's bill now to take action on. But are there any questions? Any questions from the committee? Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I've got a bill I'm going to present here. It's a bill that we actually passed out of here last year. Chairman Gullett, would you chair while I present this? Where's my copy of that?
You recognize, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. House Bill 159 we passed out last year. It relates to cybersecurity. If y'all recall, we passed out House Bill 156, I think it was last year, which was it was actually signed by the governor before the session was over last year. It was a good piece of legislation. And in fact, that piece of legislation had to do with reporting, if you recall, and having the local governments, agencies report to our Department of Homeland Security breaches that they report to the federal government, and also set up a process that the director of the Department of Homeland Security, Georgia Homeland Security, can set up regulations on how he wants things reported and what he wants reported to him or to the agency, and also for the utilities, just a little bit different for them to report to the Department of Homeland Security. What's the whole name of that thing? It's not whatever it is. Our Department of Homeland Security report back. Okay, report back to that department the information that they have reported on breaches to the federal government. But anyway, I say that to say that was a good piece of legislation we passed in here, and I appreciate it. And in fact, some of that has actually been passed by other states since we were here last year. And I just saw that New York passed some cybersecurity legislation that included that. Theirs went, did a couple things, but one thing it did was something we considered last year, and I'm not presenting that this year, at least not now, but they actually have made it illegal for ransom payments to be made unless it's declared some kind of special emergency by the governor. I think it is. It's really not a bad idea, but it may be something not ready for us right now to do. But anyway, I had this House Bill 159 we passed out of here last year, and you should have a copy of it. So along getting the 156 passed and other things, never did bring it to the floor. But what this bill does is the language that you see in there, this new language underlined, is basically, except for maybe 44 through 54. I don't know what page that would be on, but except for that language on 43 through 54 on reporting to the House, the governor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, speaker of the House, and chairpersons of the Senate Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee, the House Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, the Senate Veterans, Military, and Homeland Security Committee, and the House Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. Except for that language right there, it's all taken from an executive order that the governor issued, I think about 3 years ago, something like that. But it's never, and it's important. This is important to have this, but it's never been put into code. And so we passed out last year, and I would ask you to pass this again. And I think it's important that some of these findings, not anything about what the breaches were or anything like that. I used to have a security clearance, but I don't anymore, I don't guess. But we're not, that's not our job. But I would like to ask you to pass that. I mean, it basically is taking the language from the executive order that the governor issued about 3 years ago and putting it into code with the addition of reporting this, providing the annual report back to in addition to the governor, the lieutenant of the speaker of the House, lieutenant governor, and chairman of these various committees that I just mentioned. So I would ask you to help me with that, like you did last year.
Thank you. So thank you, Chairman Parsons, for that. This is exactly the same version we passed out last year, right? Okay. And the reason it came back here is because we didn't pass it in the House. Goes back to the committee. That's right. All right. So do we have any questions for the chairman, members of the committee? Yep.
Thank you. At appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
All right. Make sure there's no more questions and we'll get that. Thank you. Any questions from the committee online?
I just wanted to reiterate that it's a non-compensated board, correct? The six-member board is a non-compensated board. The appointees. I seem to remember that it is. I just wanted to verify and confirm that that's still the case.
I mean, it would be the same status as with the executive order. That was the intention of it anyway. There's no compensation provided in there.
That was my only question. Thank you.
All right. None online. Chairman Carson?
This is a very important issue. I don't know, Chairman Parsons, I don't know if you remember, but I served with Chairman Belton on the Military Affairs Working Group, and we spent time in Augusta in regard to the cybersecurity facility there. And this is the future of warfare, cybersecurity, and it's really it's a great way for our state to shine. I'd like to move due pass on House Bill 159.
Thank you. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. All in the room, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed in the room?
Talk about it.
Any online? How many you have online? A bunch. Is there anyone negative online? All right. Motion passes. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Do we still have the presentation? No. Oh, that's not, okay, then that's it, right? Yes, sir. Anything, I think that pretty well wraps up what we're gonna do. Anything that anybody in the committee would like to add before we adjourn? Well, with that, thank you all, and we are adjourned.